Today, we're diving into a story that's part detective mystery and part epic comeback. It's about an idea so brilliant it was dreamed up 2,500 years ago, and then so totally ignored it was almost lost to history forever. This is the incredible journey of the atom.
I mean, it's the biggest question there is, right? Just look around you for a second. The screen you're looking at, the chair you're sitting in, you. What is all of this stuff actually made of at its most basic level? This question has fascinated people for thousands of years, and the hunt for the answer started with a simple puzzle. All right, so let's set the scene. We have to go way, way back. We're talking about 2,500 years ago, ancient Greece. Philosophers are trying to figure out how the world works, but they don't have labs or microscopes. All they have is their own minds. And this guy right here is the first hero of our story. His name is Democritus. Around 400 BC, he came up with an idea that was so far out there, so ahead of its time, that other thinkers basically laughed at him. He suggested that everything is made of these tiny, invisible, unbreakable particles. He even gave them a name, atomos, which in Greek literally means uncuttable. Think about it like this. Say you have a piece of gold. You cut it in half. You cut that half in half. You just keep going, smaller and smaller. Democritus said, eventually, you're going to get to a single, tiny piece of gold that you just can't cut anymore. That final, indivisible bit, that's the atom. Now you'd think, wow, what a mind-blowing idea. It must have changed everything. But nope, not even close. In a huge twist, the idea of the atom didn't just fail to catch on, it got completely steamrolled by a rival theory that would end up dominating science for centuries. So you had this battle of ideas. In one corner, you've got Democritus and his invisible, untouchable atoms. Kind of abstract, right? But in the other corner, you have the four elements theory, pushed by philosophical heavyweights like Aristotle. Their idea? Everything is just a mix of four things you can actually see and feel: earth, air, water, and fire. And for most people, that was just way easier to get behind. And this is really the key. When a guy as famous and respected as Aristotle says something, people listen. He was basically the most brilliant thinker of his time. He didn't like the atom idea. He thought it was just silly speculation. And because he said so, the theory was pretty much dead on arrival. And I'm not kidding when I say dead on arrival. The idea of the atom just went away. It sat on a shelf collecting dust for over 2,000 years. Just think about that for a second. One of the most important ideas in all of science was basically forgotten for 2 millennia. But a truly great idea can't stay buried forever. So let's fast forward, way forward, to the late 1700s. The scientific revolution is kicking into a high gear. People aren't just thinking about the world anymore, they're measuring it. They're doing experiments. And they're starting to find clues that the old theories just couldn't explain. So this is where the comeback really starts, with hard evidence. First, a guy named Antoine Lavoisier proves that you can't create or destroy matter. You can only change its form. Huge clue. Then, Joseph Proust figures out that compounds, like water, are always made of the same stuff in the exact same proportions. It's like a fixed recipe. These new laws were like puzzle pieces, just waiting for someone to put them together. And that someone was about to become the hero who finally pulled the atom out of history's lost and found. He was the one who was going to take that ancient Greek idea and rebuild it, but this time on a solid foundation of scientific proof. Meet John Dalton. He was a British schoolteacher, and in the early 1800s, he was looking at all this new research from Lavoisier and Proust, and he had this massive light bulb moment. He realized the only way those laws made any sense was if matter really was made of tiny fundamental particles, just like Democritus had said thousands of years before. So Dalton created his atomic theory, and it was a total game changer. He said that each element, like oxygen or gold, is made of its own unique type of atom. And in a chemical reaction, these atoms just get rearranged. They never disappear. This perfectly explained why mass is conserved and why compounds have those fixed recipes. For the very first time, the atom wasn't just a cool idea. It was a scientific theory backed by actual data. So why do we care about this 2,500-year-long story? Why does it matter so much? Well, because what Dalton did next literally changed the world. See, bringing the atom back wasn't just the end of an old story. It was the beginning of a brand new one. Dalton's work created the entire foundation for what we now call modern chemistry.
That idea that was once laughed at by the smartest people in the world was now, finally, the cornerstone of how we understand all of matter.
So, the atom's incredible journey from a wild guess to a scientific fact was finally complete. Case closed. But there was one last twist. The name atomos means uncuttable, indivisible. What if, after all that, Democritus was wrong about that one little detail? What if you could split the atom? What could be hiding inside? Well, that's a story for another time.